Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Catherine and today we're going to be going over my goals for 2026. But I just want to say real quick, I loved 2025. It was such a good year and it really started to become a good year with the election of Pope Leo, right? So back on May 8th is when just everything started going well. I love Pope Leo. He is so great. Everything's been going great since the election of Pope Leo. So I had such a good 2025. So a lot of my goals for 2026 are kind of a continuation of 2025. I really want to keep doing what I'm doing because I'm very happy right now. And as I've gotten older, I've noticed there are just good years and bad years, good months, bad months, of course. But we can just keep continuing to choose happiness, to choose to see God's blessings all around us. And that's what I'm trying to do in 2026. So let's start with my religious goals. A big thing that I've been doing this year that I want to continue doing is going to the traditional Latin Mass at least once a week. So sometimes I go 3 times a week, sometimes I go once a week. It's a little bit challenging for me because the closest one to me is in Manhattan. So you just have to pay for the bus. It takes a little while to get there at rush hour, everything like that. So it's just a little complicated. It's kind of changed. I've gotten a little bit more reverent and radicalized, which I'm not crazy, I don't want to become a rad trad, right? Those people on the internet are really annoying, but I do want to be traditional. So certain ways that I'm going to be a little more traditional this year. Let's see, I'm like nervous saying this because I don't want anyone to think that I'm ripping on the Novus Ordo or anything like that. But I know this is going to upset some of my friends. I'm going to try to only receive communion, which this isn't an issue at the TLM, it's only an issue at the Novus Ordo. I'm going to try to only receive communion from priests, and I want to only receive communion on the tongue. I don't want to hold the Eucharist this year. I'm going to try to see if that can happen. I know that upsets some of my friends because I have a lot of friends who are extraordinary ministers, but we don't need extraordinary ministers, in my humble opinion, most of the time. Now, occasionally there is a mass where the priest is so old and frail, he just can't get down to distribute communion. Yes, an extraordinary minister would be needed then. But in most cases, these priests can come down and give out communion. It really only speeds up the mass with the extraordinary ministers. I've talked about this before. I don't think we need them. So I'm going to try to always get into the communion line with the priest. I'm going to try to only receive communion on the tongue. I don't want to hold communion. When I was a child, I dropped the communion when I was receiving from an extraordinary minister and I was trying to receive on the tongue. And that kind of scared me to the point where I was not receiving communion on the tongue anymore. So I want to get back into that now that I realized that that was a one-off mistake that happened when I was a child, that it should not have happened. And I was receiving from an extraordinary minister. I have seen priests drop the Eucharist before. Unfortunately, it does happen. It is horrible, but it does happen. And it is what it is, but I'm going to try to receive on the tongue. I'm going to try to get to the TLM at least once a week. However, I do think there's a big misconception out there that there's only the Novus Ordo and the TLM. There are other masses out there. There is the Ordinary Mass, which I made a video on a while ago. Unfortunately, that's only offered in New York every couple of months, so it's not offered all the time, but I really liked the Ordinary Mass, so I plan on going to more of those in 2026 when it is offered. I have never been to a Byzantine Mass before, so I want to go to a Byzantine Mass in 2026, and I have never been to a Dominican Rite Mass. That is also offered in Manhattan once a week on Saturday mornings, so I'm going to try to get to that. It's on the Upper East Side, which is a little bit of a schlep from Jersey, depending on where you are in Jersey. But that's a little bit of a hike, so I need to get up early on a Saturday morning and go to a Dominican Rite Mass. Next year, I want to read a bunch of books. This year was really good for reading. I read With God in Russia, G.K. Chesterton's St. Francis. I read some other stuff, I can't remember them off the top of my head, but this year I want to read the autobiography of St. Therese, the Benedict of the Cross, also known as St. Edith Stein. I want to read her autobiography. I want to reread Story of the Soul. I have not reread Story of the Soul in 5 years. I've read other things from St. Therese or about St. Therese. I have not reread Story of the Soul in 5 years. I need to reread my favorite St. Therese. I have never read Passion of the Christ in the Visions of Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich. So she was this nun who had all of these visions. I mean, we're talking Adam and Eve, we're talking Mary's parents, everything. She had all of these visions and they were all compiled and written down. You are not required to believe these visions at all. I personally choose to believe them. They have these 2 giant volumes you can buy, but you can also get the books that just have certain parts in them. So, right, I have read the version that just has Mary Magdalen all the visions of Mary Magdalene. That was really, really good. You can read the visions that involved the Virgin Mary. You can also read the visions of the Passion of the Christ. So that is what I'm going to read this year during Lent. I've never read it. However, this book is what inspired Mel Gibson to do The Passion of the Christ, the movie. So there are certain scenes in The Passion of the Christ, the movie, that are not in the Bible. My favorite one is the example when Peter denies Jesus 3 times and he freaks out and he runs over to Mary and says, I denied him, mother. So that is in the movie, but it's not in the Bible. But it is in the visions of Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich. Again, you're not required to believe them. A lot of people don't. I choose to believe them, so I will be reading that. Another thing I want to read is, this might sound silly, I want to reread The Lord of the Rings. Okay? So I was recently speaking to a nun, to a sister, and I asked her what her favorite Catholic movie was. And she said The Lord of the Rings. And I thought, you know what? It's a pretty good Catholic movie if you consider it that. If a nun, she was a sister of life, obviously, it's always the sisters of life with me. If a nun says she loves The Lord of the Rings, I need to reread the books. I have not read them in several years. I reread The Hobbit recently, so I got to reread The Lord of the Rings. I want to pray a 54-day rosary novena again. I do pray the rosary almost every single day, but I haven't done a 54-day rosary novena in a while. I did one last year, or this year I should say, in 2025, so I need to do another one in 2026. I need to pick an intention for that. I also want to renew my consecration to Jesus through Mary with 33 days to morning glory. I have not done it in a couple of years. It's always been very impactful on me. But other than that, I feel like the amount of times my cadence for going to Mass is pretty good. I try and at least get to Mass 3 times a week. I try and go every day. It just doesn't happen. I'm not a morning person, unfortunately. I have so much trouble sleeping. I need to get that taken care of in 2026 is my sleeping, because I just I struggle so much to fall asleep and I wake up in the morning so tired. I want to get in the habit of going to the gym and going to Mass before I start working, because I am pretty good about going to the gym consistently and I'm pretty good about going to Mass, but I just would like it to be the start of my day rather than the end of my day, because it just probably would be better that way. So some other goals I have that don't involve religion, don't involve the Catholic faith. I want to learn how to play tennis again. I played this as a kid, and then my family got really into golf, and I never played tennis again. So I want to start playing tennis again, and that was a goal for 2025. And I bought these tennis balls, and I bought a tennis racket. It's back there. And I tried to sign up for lessons, but they were all full, and then I did try again. So I need to try. These have been sitting on my desk all year. So I need to try and get some tennis lessons this year. I think it'd be really fun. I mean, I golf, so I already have one summer sport, but you can play tennis, the spring and the fall, and indoors during the winter if you have indoor courts, which there's some indoor courts not far from me, so I need to get into tennis. Health-wise, I really want to focus this year on doing things like eating my vitamins and all that good stuff. So, for example, I would like during certain times of the month, women are low on iron, so I want to make sure I'm eating steak. I want to make sure that I'm eating carrots. I want to make sure that I'm just eating whole foods, not using the microwave, which I haven't been really using the microwave in, I don't know, a year or so, more than that. But I just want to stay focused on being as healthy as possible. That is my goal. So definitely getting my steps in, eating my vitamins, and getting to the gym and lifting weights. It's so important for women to lift weights. I've been told, I'm not a medical expert, I've been told it's very important for women to lift weights. Now my YouTube channel. So I used to be really good about making YouTube videos. I was making 2 videos a week, and then I was making 1 a week, and now I've been doing 1 or 2 a month. And I think part of the reason why I just haven't been making as many YouTube videos lately is I don't like the way my YouTube videos look in this apartment. I love my wallpaper. A lot of people say mean things about my wallpaper. I like the mushroom wallpaper, but it's a very dark apartment. There is not a lot of light. My old apartment had great lighting. Oh my gosh, I miss the lighting in that apartment so badly. So I'm just gotta push through. I have a ring light. I can ignore the mean comments about my very nice wallpaper, but I need to be better about making YouTube videos. That's my guess. It's the vibe of this apartment that it's also just, I live in a studio, so it's very cramped in here. And it's a pain to pull out the equipment and stuff. But I just need to focus on making YouTube videos this year, just listening to the Holy Spirit. I want to improve this YouTube channel. I'm so close to 10,000 subscribers, but I haven't really been making good videos that have caught on lately. So I haven't hit it yet. So I'm close. I'm close to 10,000 and see where it goes. I have no goals for my Instagram account. I really don't like Instagram. As you might have figured out, I try and stay off Instagram. as much as possible. I don't post reels, I don't post pictures, I just post on the stories there, so I'll keep it open, but I really just have no desire to post anything in 2026 on Instagram. For trips, I do have one trip loosely planned to go to Miami with some friends in January to do a little girls trip. It's funny, Miami, you would think I wouldn't like it, right? Because it's all about clubbing and stuff. It's not. I like to go to Miami and there's really good food. There's very good food in Miami. There's really nice Catholic churches in Miami, and everyone is so friendly. Oh my gosh. Last year I was in Miami. I walk into this Catholic church. I'll admit that one was ugly. It was an ugly Catholic church. But I walk in, there were 3 people saying good morning to me as I walk in. And then as I'm leaving, there's 3 different people telling me, have a good afternoon. But like, that doesn't happen in New Jersey, really. People are very reserved in New York and New Jersey. We're not very friendly. I mean, we're friendly, but we're not gonna go out of our way to be friendly. I kind of like it because I'm an introvert to a certain extent. So I like just get in, get out. But I also like, building the community with the young adult group. I do love my young adult group. I'm hoping that somebody else will take over my young adult group this year, but there doesn't seem to be anyone who wants to take it over. I don't know. I enjoy it very much. I love the fruits of the young adult group. I love that people are making friends. I love that people are growing in their faith and in their fellowship. However, I've been running young adult events for many years, not just with the group I'm currently at, with the other groups that I've been involved with. I don't want to not be involved in young adult stuff. I don't know if I want to keep running events. I'm very good at it, okay? I will admit, I'm very good at running events, but it is exhausting, and I don't post about it on Instagram, because for privacy reasons, I can't tell you what church I go to regularly. I can't share any of that, so it's a lot of work. Just trust me, it's a lot of work, and it's just, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing it. So what are your goals for 2026? What did you accomplish in 2025 that you're very proud of? What kind of YouTube videos would you like to see from me? Please give this video a like. Please hit subscribe. I'm so close. And that really helps out the algorithm, and I appreciate you so much, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful, Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.